Hey guys, RPM here. Hope you're doing well and having a really great day. In this video, I want to figure out if I need to change the thermal pads on this Gigabyte RTX 3080. And this is a non-LHR back in like a year and a bit ago. And of course, we all know LHR is now unlocked. But the biggest thing for me in this video is that we all know Ethereum is going to be moving away from proof of work to proof of stake. And so Ethereum mining is incredibly memory dependent, all right? So you guys can see right now, this RTX 3080 is able to do almost 100 mega hash, but the memory temp is almost 110 degrees Celsius. That is not good. That is really not good. That is really high, and I'm surprised this thing is not thermal throttling. I think it is actually. It just started mining, but 110C on the memory is not good for Micron GDDR6X. So what I want to do right now is get some benchmarks of mining Flux or Ravencoin or Ergo, and I just want to see if the memory temperature is going to be hot with the stock thermal pads on this Gigabyte RTX 3080, because maybe we don't need to change the thermal pads on this 3080 because Ethereum mining, like I said before, is memory dependent, and that's why the memory is so hot. So I'm curious to know what Flux or Ergo or Ravencoin is going to do to the memory temp on this, and if it's bad, then I am going to change it with this critical thermal pads GPU custom set. And so I have a Gigabyte Eagle Vision or gaming custom set here, which I want to replace on that GPU. So before I do that, let me quickly get some benchmarks of mining those other three coins I just mentioned. So before we do that, this video is sponsored by Watom.io. Watom is a complete Bitcoin mining solutions provider and the largest distributor of Bitcoin mining equipment in the United States. Watom has got all your mining needs covered by offering everything from the latest ASIC miners to mobile mining containers and power transformers, as well as complete hosting services and full facility buildouts. Their team of over 100 mining experts has got you covered by offering exceptional customer service. They also offer installment payment plans, which makes getting into Bitcoin mining or scaling your existing mining operations that much easier. Link down below to watom.io/RPM. All right, we are mining Flux now. You guys can see we're getting about 91 souls using Mini Z on this 3080. And I have the power limit set at 265, but it says 264 in the software for the power. But of course, at the Elmore Labs PMD, we're showing it's fluctuating a lot, pun intended. But yeah, 265, 264, 280 watts. But the biggest thing here is the memory temperature of the Gigabyte 3080 here is much lower than we were mining Ethereum. So let me just refresh here, and you guys can see here about almost 91 souls, but the memory temp is about 84 degrees Celsius, not 110. So just to verify there, the difference there between mining Ethereum versus mining Flux, right? The memory dependency is much less on Flux, so that's why the memory temp is much lower. So in a sense, I don't need to change the thermal pads in this aspect, as yeah, it mines Flux just fine. So for those that, you know, maybe were thinking of buying thermal pads, and we all know that the end of Ethereum mining is coming very soon, then you may not need to buy thermal pads anymore. So there's the benchmark here. Now let me go ahead and try Ravencoin and see if the mem temp will get hot on this 3080. Be right back. Okay, I am using the same overclock settings I did with Flux on Ravencoin here, and we're getting 40, almost 47 mega hash, but right away, okay, we just started mining about a minute ago, minute and 30 seconds, but look at this. The memory temp went up to 108 already, okay, at about 264 watts power limit. Look at that, 108 memory temp. That is not good. So, confirming that Ravencoin mining is also a bit memory intensive as well, and just simply making the memory hot when we're mining on the Kapow algorithm, or I would assume any ProgPow variant algorithm like Firo or even Neoxa, which uses Kapow as well. That means if you're going to be mining Neoxa, then that means the GPU would get hot on the memory as well, dependent on how well the stock thermal pads are. So if you are into the ProgPow variant coins, then most likely your memory temp, look at that, 110C now. Ooh, that is not good. As what we know with the ProgPow variant coins, the algorithms, is that the GPU core and memory is being utilized simply to the max when you're mining on these coins. So really, they did that so that they could stay ASIC resistant, and so that's why GPUs are able to stay competitive within each other, and no one can really make an ASIC that is better in terms of efficiency against GPUs. Anyways, this is Ravencoin. We can tell that the memory temp is bad. Let me go ahead and try Ergo now. Alright, we are mining Ergo, and took a couple minutes here to really fine-tune this card, and wow, man, the efficiency here is pretty good at 1.29 megahash per watt on this 3080. We're getting almost 200 megahash on Ergo, and you can see the temps are incredibly low. 38 on the core, 82C on the memory, which is really good. 154 watts in the software at the PMD 161. Okay, so, but just confirming that the memory temp is good on mining Ergo on like the stock thermal pads on this Gigabyte card. For those that are buying GPUs or even 30 series cards, GDDR6X like 3080 or 3090s, then mining Ergo is completely fine, right? As well as Flux. But when it came to Ravencoin or Ethereum, and yeah, the memory temps were incredibly high. You guys probably heard from a lot of people that those GDDR6X memory is extremely hot for mining on these GPUs. So there we go. We got a benchmark just of running it stock on a few of those coins and just understanding that the memory temp is high on, you know, certain algorithms, and you know, whether or not you care about those coins will depend on if you need to change the thermal pads or not. So here we go. I want to do another test now. I'm just going to simply swap the thermal pads, change the thermal paste, all that stuff, and then we're going to do another benchmark after we change the thermal pads and see the difference from mining, I guess, not Ergo or Flux, but mainly the big difference is Ethereum and Ravencoin, or any of the Kapow or ProgPow variant coins, as we saw that the memtemp went really hot. So I'm not going to go through the process of showing you guys changing thermal pads and thermal paste. I have done that before, and there are many other videos online how to do that. It's pretty tedious and it takes a lot of time, and you just have to be very careful when you change the thermal pads and taking the GPU apart. So thank you, Critical Thermal Pads, for giving me this kit for that Gigabyte card. So I'll be right back. Look at this crappy stock thermal pads from Gigabyte. These are super bad, super bad. All right, guys, so I was successful in installing the Critical Thermal Pads GPU custom set. It was just awesome, and yeah, very easy. I can show you guys a little bit of a video here of how I was able to place all the thermal pads with the critical pads. It was all well and good. Did my best to clean up the oil with alcohol and whatnot, but anyways, it's been mining now for about 15-16 minutes here, and look at this. Mining Ethereum, 101 megahash, 45 degrees C on the core, 78 on the memory. Wow, that is definitely a big difference from 110 down to 78. Now that is obviously for Ethereum, right? So I'm curious to know, and we'll probably see maybe similar results when mining Ravencoin, because we saw Ravencoin at 110 as well, but I'll show you guys the Flux and Ergo as well. So let's go ahead, let me change this to Flux. Okay, we are mining Flux, and yeah, we're getting the same, almost same souls that we were getting before, about 90 to 91. It is going around, fluctuating a bit, but in terms of the temperature, okay, so we're getting about 50 to 51 on the core, and then on the memory we are at about, let me just refresh, I believe we're getting over 70 or 80 before, so now we're at 66 degrees Celsius on the memory. That is definitely way better, and yeah, wow, this GPU is doing pretty good, but I think the core temp did go up a little bit. I think we're at like, what, 49 or 48 degrees Celsius before. That could be potentially the thermal paste hasn't really cured yet. It does take time to maybe go around fully on the GPU and cure a little bit. But as well, the critical pads that I used, they could be a little bit higher from the factory versus the stock thermal pads, right? So yeah, it probably takes a bit of time. Maybe I can squish it down a little bit more. But to be honest, I don't know. The 2-degree difference here on the core temp is not a big deal to me. I think that's completely fine. It's been mining now for a bit here, 51 and 66. The memory really is the biggest issue for me. I think that's definitely much better. All right, so that's Flux. Let me go ahead and try Ravencoin. This will be hopefully a big difference as well. Okay, we're mining Ravencoin, and look at this. The mem temp is not 110. All right, I'll put a little screenshot of what it was before, but look at that. It's 78C. After about 4 minutes. I know after about a couple minutes, it was getting to 110, right? So this is way better. This is much better, obviously. So for those that are, I guess, deciding if, for those that want to mine Ravencoin, then, depending on the GPU, the stock thermal pads, then you will most likely need to change the thermal pads, right? But Ravencoin mining or any ProgPow variant coin mining is already natively or inherently hot, right? Because the algorithm is utilizing both the core and memory quite intense, right? So, all right, I forgot to show you guys Ergo, so let me do that quick. Okay, mining Ergo, and of course, yeah, the memory temp is, it was already pretty low when we were mining Ergo, but I'll show the difference here. And I think the core temp, yeah, is only up maybe 2 degrees, but I think I explained that before with the other coins there. But anyways, guys, I think just to conclude this video, I think if you are obviously mining Flux or Ergo or maybe non-memory intensive algorithms, then you may not even need to change your thermal pads, okay? Then it's probably just fine. But when it comes to Ethereum mining or Ravencoin or any ProgPow variant coin, then you may run into the issue of having high memory temperatures, okay, if you're deciding to mine those coins, that is. So you have to decide if it is worth it for you to, buy the critical thermal pads, or even, GPU Risers has thermal pads as well, which you guys have seen on my channel. There's a lot of these thermal pads that are out right now, which are great for cooling down the memory, right? And I showed you guys the difference there, but really, it really depends how, if you are deciding to mine other coins, or if you're currently mining other coins right now, then you may not even have to change your thermal pads, of course, if you're not mining Ravencoin after Ethereum, that is. But just simply showing you guys the difference between, Flux and Ergo on the memory temp, it's basically fine, right? And I guess showing you guys a Gigabyte gaming card here, 3080, I would say Gigabyte has one of the worst stock thermal pads. Of course, I don't have access to all the different AIB 3080s. I know from experience from the ones that I've played with personally, I really like the EVGA ones. EVGA, I've never had to change the thermal pads, and the memory temps are, like, I would say fine in my opinion. I didn't have to change it even though they were mining Ethereum. But when it comes to Gigabyte, maybe MSI, Zotac is another notorious one that has crappy thermal pads. It's really gonna be dependent on if you guys really gonna keep mining Ethereum, or really any, memory dependent algorithm, or any ProgPow variant coin. All right, guys, that's it for this video. That's really just a simple video I want to compare, just to maybe help some of those realize and get ready for what's to come potentially after mining Ethereum in the next 2 months or so after since making this video. Okay, so I'll see you all in the next video. That was fun. Have a good one. And peace out. Seriously, Gigabyte. Really bad. Look at this. This is just like clay or something. It's just really bad stock thermal pads.